All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your patience this evening. We're going to go ahead and try to get started here in a short amount of time. We'll get rolling with the first groups over here. All right, those of you guys that are on the Facebook stream, obviously it's on the Elevate page. It's on all of our individual breeder pages as well. If it's kicking you off at home, it's because it's streaming to YouTube. You have to make sure you're logged into YouTube. Otherwise, it might kick you off. That's a new restriction this year that it becomes a bit of a challenge with our technology nowadays. But those of you guys... Glad I've got this flag right here. Yeah, I can see right through that. Okay, but my name is Ben Cooley. On behalf of all of our firms here, thank you guys so much for coming this evening to the preview of Elevate. This is our 5th year running with this sale, something we're extremely proud of. And I'll be honest, we'll make a few comments about this tomorrow, but when we started this 5 years ago, I don't think we ever thought it would morph into what it has relative to this state and the opportunities that have given a lot of families and to show some really high caliber pigs and have a great relationship, not only with all of you guys, but the 3 firms up here that represent us. We're very proud of the fact that we have the opportunity to be in front of you guys this evening and to present these hogs. I promise you this, I can speak on behalf of both the Ally crew and Hinton Livestock. We have saved the very best of this age group for this sale. It has been very near and dear to our heart. It's very important to us that we present our very best out here. And those of you guys that have joined us either on the stream or here live, thank you so much for the opportunity. We're going to start with Flatland tonight. So we'll start with our set. And then we'll kind of roll through all of ours and then all of Hinton's and then finish up with Allies. We'll try to move through this in an efficient manner as much as possible. We'll talk some pedigrees. We'll have a little color commentary. So go ahead and bring out the first couple lots right here, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'll make a few comments here just about them in general. So first up is the boar pig. That is lot number 1. That's the one that Landon is on right there, or was on. We'll get him rolling out there. Guys, that is lot number 1. That is 11-3. He is an intact male. He's a wide awake. Dam is, and then some, and then goes back to the Goosebumps verbatim Roxy sow. The grandmother raised the grand overall gilt in the reserve division 4 other cross barrow at San Antonio in 23. That particular and then some dam in our very first litter this summer also raised a 3rd place crossbred there at National Western. They were very proud of that. Actually, he's going to go on to Houston later on. This litter, guys, I'm extremely proud of. We did sell 1 male in Indiana at the Chosen Ones a couple weeks ago for $7,000. Very proud of that particular one. But we saved the rest of the litter and this particular male specifically for Elevate tonight. I'd like to get Weston's comments on that one before I go to the gilt.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I won't waste a lot of your time. We'll jump right into the hogs here. We start off with the bang with tag 1 there. Comes at you in just a package that we're all after. Perfect belt, class hamp if you need him to, but way more important, just the quality that this guy comes at you with. Stouty with a good look, just impressive shape and proportions. That's a power hog, guys. I mean, watch that guy come at you, how flat he is at the base of his chest, way chiseled up high. That's just, I'm guessing that one got to stay intact at the Flatland firm for a reason because they see a lot of potential in that thing, just in terms of true power. Don't miss what's in front of you there.
Yeah, guys, I won't go on real long, but we are very proud of that pig and what he represents in our program and what we're trying to do. Nothing to take away from the gilt. She is 12-12. She's actually tag number 15. They just happen to be pen mates, so she's tag number 15. She is a pass the hat. The mom is a Hero Goosebump sow. Mom would have raised the 4th overall crossbred at the Colorado State Fair last year that the Stromberger family showed. and we think an excellent representation of what that sow does. 12-12, the Pass the Hat Hero Goosebumps. Really neat rig right there.
This gilt's my speed in terms of just look and hip and hind leg. I love this thing's reach and the way she floats across the ring with her head above her spine. That kind never goes out of style. Just that kind of extension. But with that, comes at you with a really wide-eyed, stout skull, good jawline, big chest. But then to do it with that kind of look and style, those are the kind that get me fired up.
So pair out in the ring again. Lot number 1 is the perfectly belted boar pig, 11-3, wide awake, and then some goosebumps. And then the chromed up gilt is tag number 15, Pass the Hat Hero. The next trio that we're going to roll out here are tags number 4, 5, and 6 in our offering. Tag number 4 is the one Landon's going to be on. That is the kind of the Halloween colored one, as I like to call them, that tricolor. And obviously, depending on what your classification needs are, I guess, light cross on our CJSA circuit, or in, Weld County here, State Fair, that would certainly still be a dark cross. I don't think color matters. Wide awake, icon, never before, is the pedigree. Dam would have raised in our very first litter last year the reserve grand at Natrona County for the Burkett family that are here this evening. I'm pretty high on this whole 13 litter, and just a tremendous male right there. The litter mate to him is actually, Landon, go ahead and jump on the other one. That is 13-2. That's kind of the other calico male. He's the other 13 in this particular set or group out here. Again, one that's probably reads a little bigger and more extended in his overall package, but a pair of 13 wide awakes that I'm very, very proud of. And then Cadence has 15-3. That's going to be tag number 5. That's the traditional blue butt male there. That is a Wild Ride Hero Kingpin. You can see kind of what the dam has done for us here. It goes back to those Hero Kingpin sows. And Wild Ride is a buckle-up son there at Crossroads. And this is the first litter we've had of him. We just had the one litter, and we've already bred back to him, like him quite a bit as he kind of pushes out there. Go ahead, Weston.
First thing. Sorry about that. First thing that jumps out to me on the 4 and 6 tag litter mates there is that those are wide awakes. That doesn't necessarily look like your normal wide awake. Those things are burly, awesome in their cage and center, and come at you with tons of power. We all love the wide awakes in terms of just how they feed and their maturity, and their hip and hind leg usually gets better. But to start with ones that have this much just cage and center punch is an exciting idea for sure. Take nothing away from the blue pig here, who's a Wild Ride. That boar's been crazy popular. Hard to get a hold of there for a while. That Beck has at Crossroads. One that, for being a buckle-up son, I think that thing's hawk sits inside of himself, super safe from behind. Again, these things are not tiny. There's not a lot of guesswork here. These things are going to have enough muscle, have enough body and cage, get in where you fit in this trio.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mention, age-wise on our set, it's kind of last couple days of November, first 4 or 5 days of December. I do think, anymore, trying to guess exactly where maturity is going to land on all of these things as they go is a little bit of a guessing game, and certainly depends on a feed job. If you want to have a little more specific conversation and discussion where these things might fit, come talk to us, obviously, or give me a call. But I think we can fit anywhere from middle of July on with any of these hogs. Nice trio of barrows right there. The next pair out in the ring are 13 and 14 are the tags. The solid black male is 13. That's another 13 litter, 13-6, wide awake icon. Again, we've talked about this litter already, but I think this one's pretty high on my list. This one kind of is probably in between the last two, Weston, that we just talked about. Plenty of burliness and stoutness in cage in this one, as you were talking about in those wide awakes, but a really good look. Excellent feature in this guy, like a lot of things about 13-6. And then the partially belted gilt that Cadence is on, that's 11-8. I'll be honest, Weston, I'm pretty nervous about offering this one up. I normally would have probably tried to keep that one at home, not only because of the litter she's out of and being a wide awake, back on that and then some, and then the Goosebumps verbatim Roxy, but that is a very comfortable built, correct made gilt that we tend to not try to let go of around Flatland, but we were very committed to making sure we offered our best in this pair.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Start on that black barrel there, tag 13. I just instantly noticed that maybe even compared to his brothers, that guy's got extra extension blade forward. I think you get his head in the air and he's really clean there, bottom side of his throat. But the proportions on this gilt that you're offering, I think, are the most impressive. To be that short back, but still have that kind of length of hip, you're right. I mean, when they're bold and proportion right, that's a great place to start, and also always an opportunity to build around one like you mentioned.
So again, tags number 13 and 14. 13 is the all solid black male, wide awake icon, and then tag 14 is the partial belted gilt, 11-8, wide awake, and then some Goosebumps. The next pair that are coming out into the ring are 22 and 23, a pair of blue males. And guys, I don't think it needs to be said, but with a light cross division now pretty much at most of our shows that we get to go to, and having a blue-colored animal the way these are right out here is certainly eye-catching and something we prided ourselves on. Both of these actually go back to the same line, the Goosebumps silver lining sow that we built around. So the first one up there, tag number 22, 19-2, that's the one Landon is on. If we can study that stout guy, 19-2, that's a stinger. Mom is a Goosebumps silver lining, as we said. Just a tremendously stout-featured animal right there in 19-2. We're going to see several of those 19s. I really do like those stingers, Weston. I think they've been very popular, and we continue to use him. Then the one Cadence is on is 12-2. That's tag number 23. That is a pass-the-hat hero Goosebumps. Again, the mom of that 12 litter would have raised the 4th overall cross at Colorado State Fair last year in that light cross, coming out of that light cross division. One that was, colored up very, very similar to that, but a pair of really nice blue males here for that light cross division.
22 hits me like a truck. To be blue and to be that stout is not easy to do. I think every breeder in the country, all of a sudden here, we're finding ourselves struggling to make enough blues. I don't know if you blame it on the York breed being rough for a while here or what, but they just don't come around that often. And so to have one with that kind of substance, balance, and quality that's that color, you can look at a lot of sales and not find one like that. And I guess I want to echo what you're saying on Stinger. I would tell you that boar might have been one of the more underutilized boars that we're all scrambling to use more of. I can tell you at my house, we're breeding. We bought a Stinger son just to inject that into our sow herd because I think that stuff's working awesome. Please don't miss that one. Circling big. That one's very, very good. This other one, he caught maybe a bad pin to be in because his maturity pattern is different. Right? This guy is way greener, way more immature, but just step back and study that guy from the side in terms of, again, proportions and just comfort when he gets out and moves. If you take that guy home, I promise that's the kind that you'll like better every day he's on feed, okay?
Yeah, I think to echo that real quick, Weston, I promise you that set that sow had last year when we sold them in the farm sale and that 4th overall at Colorado State Fair, they were pretty green at that stage as well, and they just continue to stouten up and get better with age. That's what that hero sow do, and that hero mom on that 12 litter, guys, she would have won her class at the Colorado State Fair a couple years ago that we had, and we luckily got her back, and she's just generated every time. So a neat pair of blues there. 22's the 19-2 male Stinger Goosebumps, and then 23's the Pass the Hat 12-2. The next trio that will come in are 28, 29, and 30, for those of you guys following along at home. And again, it really does pain me when we're going to offer up gilts that look like some of these, but I'm pretty excited about the opportunity that they can have and success they can have regardless of your market hog or wherever you want to go. The first one, Landon, I think is on right there, lot number 28. That is 11-9. So again, littermate gilt to the leadoff male pig in our sale, wide awake, and then some goosebumps. Just a very neat female with a lot of show quality and a tremendous amount of power. And then 29 would be the solid black one that Cadence is on. We'll try to get her out there. 13-8, wide awake, icon, never before. We've talked about those 13s quite a bit. That's the solid black one. And again, Weston, solid black, I think we're pushing for our own division, right? I think we were talking about that on the circuit. We really do like that one. And then Landon actually has the litter mate, 13-9. That is lot number 30. Again, another wide awake icon, never before. So a trio of wide awake gilts out there. Man, a sire of the year this last year, rightfully so. He did that with a lot of quality. I think the three out here represent him very well.
Start with tag 28 here. That one instantly just screams at you in terms of aggressive shape. And if you get over the top of her, I mean, that one is never going to get just out-horsed, right? But to do it, that kind of sharp edge, that hawk will extend behind the root of her tail. I mean, easily done to put that much in one and keep a hind leg like that, right? And then the 13s, we can get a look just like that with our head above our spine, but still be power hogs that are stout all the way in that bone column to their ankle. And to come with the pedigree like they do, that's an exciting prospect for sure there in either one of those 13s. Good trio of gilts there.
Yeah, those of you guys that are maybe young buyers out there and young breeders thinking you want to grab a breeding piece, whether you're here live or watching online, I'm telling you, we normally do not let females like this go this early in the season, but they're here for sale. All right, the next trio that are going to come out for Flatland are tags 37, 38, and 39. 37 is the one that Landon's going to jump on there, and 37 and 38 are litter mates. They are sired by Kong, and then back on a Kingpin Cracker sow. First of all, we'll talk about the dam because we always do talk. I like talking about the females first. That Kingpin sow, we would actually shown her here at Weld County a couple years ago. Cadence would have shown her. She was reserve champion breeding gilt. This is her second litter. She would have had kind of an off-age February litter last year, a buckle ups that maybe didn't get marketed, in front of everybody as much. So this is kind of our first opportunity to really highlight what that sow can do. I will tell you, we did sell a litter mate gilt to this pair of Kongs out here at the Connection a couple weeks ago for $3,500. Found a very good home. The gilt that Landon has right there, 21-4, sired by Kong. I will promise you this, and I think Weston can echo it, that was as wild of animal as I have seen in a boar stud in quite some time. Still not quite sure how to match them up perfectly, but I would tell you that these brought the extras. And then Cadence has the litter mate there, 21-2. Again, Kong, Kingpin, Cracker. I'll let you make a couple comments on then, Weston, before we talk about the third one.
Sometimes I spend too much time on pedigrees, but if you look at this sow and you just think Kingpin Cracker, you think of maybe the hill there. When you put Kong on that stuff, that guy sold a couple different boars, one of them 6 figures, right? I mean, that deal is working. So you want to talk about an opportunity again, lay in a female with a similar pedigree, with that kind of look, blade forward, that kind of skull shape and jaw. Sign me up, right? All you need to do on her is fill her up, right? She just looks a little empty. We just got these pigs here somewhere around the middle of the day, and it kind of looks like brother ate it all, right? I mean, he's the exact opposite. Talk about starting with one that's always going to be bold, robust, wide. Take him home, slow him down, keep that front third in check, and what are you going to end up with? An absolute monster come county fair time that is stouter than most of the pigs he runs against, with the right kind of just width, dimension, and bulk.
Yeah, Wes, I will be honest, when that one was born, I got really excited. I thought, oh, boar prospect. And then, of course, he had one in his flank, and that's the way that goes. So now he's a barrow for sale. But I do think, guys, you do need to go slow with that particular one. The one land and house out there that we haven't talked about is tag number 39. That is another one of those 19 litter. 19-3 is his notch. Stinger. Goosebumps is the pedigree. We talked about his blue brother a moment ago. This is the belted version of him, and probably a little unfair that he's in the same pen with these two monsters out here, but I still think he fits the mold of one that is balanced and proportional and has all the pieces that we need to have. Go ahead, Weston.
Again, you look at this guy, and I'm kind of, my pet peeve, I guess, is ones that are a little sissy-headed, and this thing is the opposite of that, right? I mean, just look at that skull.
3. Coming out next, tag number 47, 48, and 49. It sounds like a broken record, but we're going to keep jumping into these 13s because it was just an incredibly deep litter. I will tell you, all of them made it to sale day, and the chances of that happening, I think Weston and Ralph would agree, is very rare when all of them get to be showcased at an event like this. So Landon actually has the wide belted barrow out there. That is 13-3, again, wide awake icon. Just a very unique animal right there. You know, he's not quite as bloomy and far along as the couple brothers we've talked about already tonight, but we didn't skimp on quality. And then Cadence has the litter mate gilt, 13-11. Again, the wide awake gilt right there. Guys, that one that Cadence has, I think could be fed for an eternity anymore. These gilts have such a long shelf life if managed correctly. That one's a little more moderate in her build, and certainly I think can find a long feeding window. So I'll get Weston's comments on the pair of 13s before we talk about the other one out there.
I think it's interesting when you come to this sale every year, because we all have our different types and kinds, and we all have our preferences, and at times we give each other a hard time or we just nitpick each other. But for me, when I'm looking at flatland hogs, I know they're going to be dense and stout and have muscle. But if I get one with that kind of look, I'm fired up. If I'm making your sale order, that guy might start me off. I love that thing. Cooley calls him green. I call that thing awesome from the side. I mean, that thing's look, proportion, balance, flexibility. Sign me up on that thing. Way, way, way good. Sister, more moderate. Again, dense, burly, everywhere you look. That's the kind that look like they can generate after they're done hanging a banner, just because they're stouter and more proportional than ever. And let's not, I mean, he said you can show them forever. I think that kind, not only can you show it for a long time, but you're going to have success at the first jackpot with that one, and you're still going to be overwhelmingly stout and correct at the end with one like that. Fun project for sure.
Yeah, so now that Weston has told me I screwed up my sale order, we'll go ahead and get to the other one out there. As Landon grabs tag number 49, that is 22-1, and that is a buckle-up hero out of a first litter hero gilt, and unfortunately we only have a pair that made it here. That's all we could get out alive. You know, that happens sometimes, but if you like them very, very stout and extremely big-legged and yet still comfortable and balanced and proportional, I think that 22-liter male really fits you. Again, I don't think he goes very fast, Weston. I read that one that we can take our time in our feeding program.
I'm just sitting up here talking about all my pet peeves. I talked about sissy-headed ones earlier. Another thing I don't like is when our length to height ratio gets out of whack. I don't like when they're too long-bodied and not tall enough. This pig is the exact opposite of that. Talk about one that's very, very elevated in relation to his length of body, and then on front of his skeleton has an absolute zipper neck like we'd expect from that pedigree. I think you'll always stand out that way. I also think when you go to State Fair or a place where you have to mark a card with one that's that short back, that's advantageous. You look bigger than you are. I just think a project like that is always just going to be a little unique because he has wild pieces that way. Really, really neat proportionality.
So again, the pair of 13s out there, the wide-belted male is tag number 47. The gilt is tag number 48, 13-11. And then the non-13 litter, that traditional belted male, 22-1, Buckle Up Hero. We have a pair coming out next, 56 and 57. Pair of litter mates, actually. They are 15 litters. We talked about a blue brother early. He was kind of right off the bat there, and one that probably that blue barrow needed to be fed for kind of a July show window. That's probably what fit him really well. Here's a pair here that I think could be a little more flexible. We'll start with the gilt. That's tag number 56, the black-headed one that Landon is on. That is 15-6 gilt, Wild Ride Hero, Kingpin. And, man, I just think an incredibly unique built animal that has a tremendous amount of potential. She's a little skinnier middle probably than some of the others out here today, but that one's skeleton is right up my alley. And then 15-1 is her littermate brother. He kind of has a little bit of a crinkle and fold to his ear there, but I don't think it's going to affect him. That's a very nice, unique barrow right there in 15-1. We'll get your thoughts, Weston.
To me, you can see the Kingpin coming through on this black-headed gilt immediately. Just the range of motion out of her hip and hind leg screams what I think Kingpin did best for the industry. He just made their skeleton bomb-proof in the way they use that hind leg. There's a reason that so many of these boars we see now that are very kind of wildly bred on top have a Kingpin mama, because you just know with that one that you can do what you need with the bucket because your hind leg's going to be exactly where it needs to be the whole way through. Brother, though, I think takes it maybe to another level in terms of just that neat look up front, short back, long hip, similar hind leg, with the right color pattern for everybody. I mean, I think very good prospect that maturity reads to be in your favor as a feeder for sure.
Yeah. Again, we're really high on these wild rides. This pair of 15s out here are awfully neat. The black-headed gilt 15-6 is lot number 56. And then the barrow chromed up one, tag number 57, 15-1. We just like running litter mates together, so we're just going to continue that trend here in 62, 63, and 64. These are all 12 litters, and if you can see the pedigree, Past the Hat, which, by the way, sired the barrow of the year this last year on the Pig Planet, and rightfully so. That thing was incredibly good. Again, the mother, Hero Goosebumps, would have raised the fourth overall barrow there at Colorado State Fair for the Stromberger family. The one that Landon has out there is the male. That is 12-4. That's the male in the litter. And then Cadence is on 12-7, tag number 63. We'll show her next. The one Cadence is driving around the ring. And then the other gilt is tag number 64, that is 12-10, the one Landon kind of grabbed right there. So another barrow and then a pair of blue gilts, the right color and the right pattern, in my opinion, Weston.
Although there's some differences here, I think just the similarities might be to your advantage, just show you the depth and consistency you're working with here. I would tell you that it's pretty common for gilts to be just a nickel ahead of barrows as they come through the nursery and you get them down on chips. They usually have just a little more early shape like we see here. But that barrow doesn't scare me one bit. He's already starting to get a big groove, and you can see it starting to come. Again, to have three with this kind of proportions that hit that light cross division no matter where you're showing, those are hard to find today. Study these three. I think there's minute differences today in terms of maybe width and bloom, but I think quality all the way through on this trio. Again, guys, tag number 62, 63, and 64. These are 12 litters.
The barrow is 12-4. The gilts 12-7 and 12-10 are 63 and 64. Past the hat, Hero, Goosebumps. The pair we have coming out next, again, another pair of wide awakes, Weston. Good thing those litters produced a lot of pigs because they're awfully good. The partial belted or kind of white-footed one that we're going to jump on first, that is tag number 70. It's going to be pretty fast there, Landon. What the heck? Let's go. Is 11-2. That is another littermate male to our leadoff in the sale. Wide awake, and then some Goosebumps. And then tag number 71 is the one Cadence is on. That's another one of those 13s. Wide awake, icon, never before. Again, a pair that were probably a little bit greener. That's why we're in 10 mates right here. But the quality continues to build on these wide awakes. I'm very, very happy. We obviously continue to use that sire very heavily.
Yeah, it's no secret what Wide Awake is doing right now, what he continues to do. Everybody's after him, right? And for good reason. You got to keep in mind, too, when we start our projects here, what you can and can't control, right? It's hard to change bone, look, skeleton. I don't know too many feeders that are very good at that. I do know that, again, I'm not scared of these one bit in terms of adding a little bit of flesh and bulk if you need it, when you need it, because that's what we can do with the bucket. So, I know most of you understand that, but don't be scared here. These things are going to have plenty of shape and dimension. Study the skeleton, the comfort on this little white-legged dude. Love his proportions again. That looks like a 2025 show barrel who, when his time comes, he's going to be very, very, very good. The other one, nickel longer bodied, but with that absolutely great hind leg with a big rear ankle and a neat look up front. That's the kind that never treat you wrong at the end, right? They feed, they turn out. You're not upset here because when their skeleton is good, everything else goes right. Good pair of barrows.
Sorry, we're just going to turn that up just a little bit for some people on the internet, making sure they can hear it okay. Sorry if you can't. Again, guys, these pair of wide awakes out here, both those litters are highlights from our firm this year, the 11s and the 13s. 11-2, that is tag number 70. That's the kind of white-footed barrel. And 71 is the wide-belted one that Cadence is on, 13-4. A pair of pretty stout, bigger gilts here. Those of you studying in close, maybe for a that July run show here early August, I think better pay attention. Tag number 76, that's the one that Landon's going to be on there, the kind of the partial belted gilt there. That is a Kong 21-3, Kong Kingpin Cracker. We've already talked about a couple of those out of that litter. And then tag number 77 is the Calico. That is 9-9, tricked out 3, back on the Dirty Deal sow that we've built a tremendous amount of females around. I did bring one, Weston, to offer just for you.
I do love that sow, and I'm always trying to gather up those when he allows one to sneak away from the flatland farm there. But again, guys, study in here. You know that when you show up at County Fair there in July or early August, you're going to have to be stout, wide, bulky, just to even get noticed, right? And I think both of these do a great job of bringing real muscle with real cage, width, and just the fundamentals that it's going to take to even get a look. So different color patterns and a little differences between them, but both, I think, just check a lot of basic boxes there.
Again, those... The Kong there, that is tag number 76, Kong Kingpin 21-3. That one is not fragile. She has big legs and a stout skull. And then the Calico 9-9, I can't take enough of what tricked out, and those clones have continued to do, making very correct, comfortable pigs. And then that Dirty Deal sow, obviously, she speaks for herself. The next pair coming into the ring are 82 and 83. 82 is the one Landon's going to jump on there, the traditional belted boar pig. That's another 11. 11-4, wide awake, and then some goosebumps. So again, we had 3 of those males here. That one's probably just a little bit different than a couple of his contemporaries, than either the leadoff or the barrow. That boar pig there is stout and moderate and probably has a tremendously long show window. We'll get Weston's thoughts there. And then tag number 83 is the one that Cadence is on over there. That is 10-3, tricked out 3, honey nut back on that dirty deal sow. I think a very, very nice male, just kind of no holes on that one. We'll get Weston's thoughts.
Again, Cooley probably should have called me to help him with his sale order. I don't know what this little belted pig's doing way down here. That thing is absolutely huge from his blade forearm all the way down to his ankle. You can't even tell anywhere in that bone column that it deviates. That is just a stout front arm with a really slick, clean throat and a good jawline, head of his blade with all the shape, perfect colored. That thing will class all day long anywhere. Very, very exciting prospect there that Landon's on. And then this guy, man, talk about just bold-centered, right? We've all had those where sometimes it's hard to just get enough in him at certain points along the way. You know with him, he's always just going to be robust about his cage and his center body there. One that's very, very practical in his own right.
Yeah, thanks, Weston. No, I agree. I don't know why we have the sale order the way we do, other than the way that's the pens fall at home, and sometimes that's just how you have to get them sorted. But again, guys, tag number 87 or 82 is 11-4, wide awake. That's the one that Landon's on, and then the other barrow 83, that's 10-3, tricked out honey nut. The next pair coming into the ring are 88 and 89. 88 is the one Landon's going to jump on right there. That is 17-3, tricked out 4, never before dirty deal. So again, going back to a dirty deal grandmother, the dirty deal sow. I think a very, very good county fair barrow there that is ready to rumble anywhere from mid-July on. Outside of maybe just a little tip to his ear right there, which when you get his head up, you don't even notice. That thing is incredible in terms of just proportions and balance with big feet and a very, very good skeleton on him, in my opinion. And then Cadence has tag number 89. That's another one of those stingers, 19-7 stinger, goosebumps, silver lining on that particular gilt right there that Cadence has.
In this show pig world, it's crazy how it seems like it gets earlier and earlier, but I'm telling you that it's going to be hard to find projects that are this far along and are the right size for those early fairs much longer. If you look around at what guys are selling, they're not selling ones this big very often anymore. So get in, right? Get what you need to get to your fair. That barrel's got big old feet and checks a lot of boxes in terms of just being wide, good-bellied, having muscle, right? Great project. But I have to just jump to this gilt. This one fires me up in terms of just her balance and overall look. Cadence is making her look real good out there, just cruising around with that. Again, that combination of power and quality never ever gets old. Good gilt there for sure.
Yeah, I think to Weston's point there, guys, I promise you, if it wasn't for the Elevate sale and us wanting to hold back our very best ones to offer you guys, some of these would have been gone already. We had groups through, and I promise you, they really wanted to buy some of these. We just said, no, we're keeping our very best for this sale. But I promise you, if you have one of those mid to late July shows, you better look in here because these things are ready to rumble, and they will be ready to go in that time frame. The next two in the ring are 95 and 96. The chromed up one there that Landon jumps on, that's another one of those 17s. So we just talked about a litter mate. Tricked out 4, never before. Dirty Deal. Weston, I guess I can say this to you and you get it. I don't know how many times we had winners. It was tricked out never before. There was like a 2-year run where they won every show in America and you were not getting around them. And so I still think it works because of the way they're built and the quality that they present out here. And I certainly think 17-2, tag number 95 there, does those things exceptionally well. And then, again, another 19-liter. This is a 19-liter male that Cadence is on. The partial belted one, 19-1, tag 96, Stinger, Goosebumps.
You're not wrong there. For a while, every boar that went to stud, I think, was tricked never before because it works. It makes sense. And Tricked was ahead of his time. That's why they cloned him. That's why he's still winning. You don't have to tell me I'm a big fan. Big fan, right? And I think you can see why. You get deep litters of high-quality pigs that get better with time, right? I mean, that's just a good-built animal that you can't go wrong with for sure. Fun color pattern, too. I think that one's unique enough to get you noticed, but not just silly enough to annoy me. I like that one. The more black barrel, talk about again, short-backed, one that I think you can feed for a longer window if you need that. Kind of just interesting individual in terms of being that short-backed, but still having some extension blade forward. Good pair there.
So again, guys, tag 95 is the chromed up barrow 17-2. Tag number 96 is the partial belted barrow 19-1. The next pair we'll run out here are 100 and 101. 100 and 101. $100 is the one that Landon's on. That is a gilt. That is 22-2. We saw her brother a moment ago. Buckle up, hero, breaking rules. Plenty of stoutness in that one there. Weston, we'll get your thoughts in a moment. And then Cadence is on another one of those 19s, 19-6 gilt, Stinger, Goosebumps, Silver Lining. So tag 100 and tag 101.
When we're raising show livestock in general, the name of the game is putting kind of antagonistic traits together. One of those things would be putting feature like that with a look like that, right? They just don't normally go together. But to have that kind of pipe and bone column, but to still be snazzy up front and sharp-edged, makes that thing unique. She walks in and you're like, whoa, those are big feet, right? I mean, just cool. Your eyes go there. But Cadence is out showing Landon. It's not even close on this pair. And, man, she's like, hey, quit bragging on the other one. Look at me. I've got my tail jerked way up there with a level spine, my head above my spine, and I'm just floating. But I'm not just a skinny, pretty one, right? I come at you wide with all sorts of shape and turn to her cage. Again, fun color pattern there. That's a wicked pair of gilts.
Yeah, I traditionally keep a couple really, really good ones here toward the end of the sale because everybody just keeps waiting on them. But this pair of gilts out here, even though they're not exactly the same, I think their quality is good. Landon has 22-2, tag number 100, the Buckle Up Hero. And then Cadence, that one with a spot on its back, that is 19-6, Stinger, Goosebumps. And then again, guys, the final two that we're going to have out here in the offering, 102 and 103, 102 and 103. 102 is the one Landon's going to drive out there, the chromed up barrel. Another 12-liter. We've talked about those 12s quite significantly throughout the day. Pass the hat, hero, Goosebumps. We know what that sow did last year, raising that 4th overall barrow at Colorado State Fair. Here's another one that I think fits a really good window there of that July, early August run. And then 9-1, tricked out 3 on the Dirty Deal sow. That is tag 103, the one that Cadence has, the traditional belted barrel.
The chromed up pig here that Landon's on reminds me of some of the ESTs that I think that barrow at State Fair had last year. If you saw that blue pig, you couldn't just help but be like, that is a massive pin set with absolutely huge feet. I mean, And to be a blue hog and just stand out that much in terms of just bone and being that wide but correct was unique. I love this thing's the way his spine lays into his hip, his tail sits right, huge pin set with the hind leg that can go and go and go. I really like that one. I think that one gets better every single day. I'm struggling to pick a hole in that one as he's cruising around out here, and especially knowing what Brother looked like last year, that one excites me a bunch. We end the sale here with one that, again, comes at you as a male pig that's classed as hamp. Those never go out of style. I guess maybe your sale order did make some sense. You can wait around and still be okay. So
hey, we want to have good ones from lot one all the way to the last one.
And that is our goal here, right? With three of us. This mic is a little bit tricky, but that is our goal, right? We all bring our top in. I give him a hard time, but we do pride ourselves on trying to only bring quality here and make it as deep as we possibly can. I think that pair sums that up as good as we can.
So guys, that's our set from Flatland. Very excited about those from top to bottom. Please come visit with us in the back. We'd more than happy to visit with you guys. We're going to roll into Hinton Livestock next. Ralph's going to grab the mic here and get rolling.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here on behalf of Hinton Livestock and all of Elevate. We're happy to see y'all. Please come and see us in the back. If you have any questions, we're going to try to answer a few of those here and keep rolling pretty efficiently. So thanks again for being here. Go ahead, Luke. This is our leadoff pin. The Calico's going to start it off for us. That's a wide awake buckle up. His 7-1 is his launch number. You'll see a lot of 7s throughout the sale. A very, very deep litter for us. A gilt litter that absolutely knocked it out of the park. She was fifth overall breeding gilt at Cheyenne and a reserve hamp at the Mid-American. She came home, and then we put her back in the barn for one more week, and Savannah showed her she was 4th overall at Jingle Bells. Really proud of the 7 litter here. We've been doing them all or one at a time? We'll do them all real fast. And then the 2 belted pigs are 6 litter barrows. 6-4 is the one that Weston's working on, and 6-2 is the one that Landon's on, the kind of chromed up one. These are woke, no huddles. The mother of that sow 2 days ago raised a class winner at San Antonio and had the reserve gilt at Cheyenne in that litter. This is her 3rd go. We own that sow with the Davis family. The one that's kind of rose to the top is one of our top sows. I know for me, this is the kind that I like to feed. My friends know me, and they'll probably talk about it, that I'm going to start skinny and I'm going to start good built and good looking, and we're going to go like heck to catch up and get stout. But we're going to start with the fundamentals of look and soundness, and I think both of those do that extremely well. Let's see what Ben has to say.
I'll tell you right now, you just start with this calico right here, and I don't care what color they are anymore, because good ones are good ones. And a pedigree that I think absolutely works. When I think you called me and said, hey, I think I'm breeding my buckle ups all to wide awake, and I said, I think you're probably right on track. You know, when we originally talked about that years ago, we saw those 2 boards. We're like, I don't know if that's maybe the right approach, but nowadays, absolutely, it works. And you talk about this chromed up calico one over there, guys. That one is stout. That one has feature. And I can give Ralph just a little bit of hard time here. You know, normally he said, yeah, I like starting skinny and then feed into it. And I probably like to make sure we have plenty of stoutness to us early, you know, 2 different feeding programs, and that's fine. That's my speed. That one has stoutness. That one has feature. That has still a great look and great proportions there. Guys, you know, get in on that one. And then I think as we were unloading pigs, the 6 litter, I kept asking them, hey, what's that 6 litter? Woke, no huddle. Guys, the woke thing has been absolutely on fire back in the Midwest. People have been really excited about these pigs. Makes me frustrated that I think I only had 1 litter, and I don't even know if there's any alive left at home, but maybe 1 or 2. But I'm telling you right now, these woke pigs, they look the part. The look ahead of their blade, especially that boar pig right there that is pushing out. I believe that's the one that is 6-4, right?
It's 6-3. Correction on your book. It is 6-3. Sorry about that.
6-3.
So in person, he's 6'3". The book says 6'4". Tag 7.
Check, check. There we go. Now our mic's working. Yeah, I think both that pair right there, whether you're talking about whatever his notch is, it doesn't matter. I think both those have the look ahead of their blade for the long haul. Their feature is right. The column of bone that they have and their arm shape that they have and the way it ties into a very correct set to their blade. Guys, they may still be a little bit skinny and green. That is perfectly fine. Those are the ones we can just go home and they continue to get better. But their feature matches right now for as much features they have. It's going to be pretty incredible. So I like them.
As they're getting these ones out, we had some bad luck with our older set, so we decided to go ahead and cancel our online sale that was going to be next week, and we brought the highlights of that here today. So these are going to be a little bit smaller than most people are probably ready to look at, but we thought this was the opportunity to showcase our very, very best ones. So they're here and they're for you to look at. The belted barrow is 13-3. I'll be honest, these days, me and Ben and Weston, we go back east and we look at boars and we look at every pig that we usually use. I had a gut feeling from the second that I saw Safety First as a baby that I was going to use him. I never got to Danner's to see him, and I wish that he was still alive because he's not. And that is that belted pig was going to be the highlight of our online sale. He's a Safety First, no intro, never before. His mother would have won the lightweight division at Kit Carson County. Littermate's sister to the mother of the other two smaller barrows that raised two sale qualifiers at State Fair last year. That's one of my very favorite pigs. Been excited to get him out. The other two barrows in here are tags 17 and 18, 12-5 and 12-2. 12-5 is the kind of half-belted pig. The 12 litter's mother raised two sale qualifiers, a first place and a second place at the Colorado State Fair. They ran through this ring last year and also had the reserve champion at Yuma. We'll see some of her babies later. So those buckle up. Those babes were very good out of buckle up. These are Breathtaker, no intro, never before. We count on this sow to do it for us every time. I know these are small, I know they're skinny, but I promise you they're going to be there in the end because this sow always does it for us.
Well, Ralph and I have been in communication quite frequently. You know, as always, the three of us always talk quite a bit, and I know he was having a bit of bad luck, and that was not the intention to maybe bring this young a set here, but his misfortune is your opportunity, because I'm telling you right now, we just start with that the 13 litter right there, that Safety First wide belted one. I know maybe some of you out there are thinking, you know, I don't know if I'm ready to maybe just dive off into a barrow that will fit the end of August, 1st of September. Well, if you're not, I'm going to, because that one is ready. That one is good. That one is so proportional in his build. His roundness of center body is so correct. He's big in his feature. I'm way in on that pig right there, and I'm glad Ralph bought him, because you guys should take advantage of bringing that one out here today. The pair of 12s, yeah, Breathtaker needs no introduction. That was one we saw a couple years ago that was just absolutely wild, and on the right sow, he works. And I'm telling you, the right sows are at Ralph Hinton's place for Breathtaker to work, because these right here, they will continue to stouten up. You can see it in their skull shape, in their jawline, their nose pad, the width between their eyes, the tail root they have. They are not going to be skinny for long. You better get in and get after it on this pair right here of 12 litters, right, Ralph? Yep. Those Breathtakers. A neat trio out there. They're ready to roll.
Coming in next is two more of the 7 litters, wide awake buckle up. We talked about that mother being one that gilt litter that was extremely successful. Guys, these ones just they look like they're supposed to with that pedigree. They're wide, they're dense, they're burly, and they have the extras of buckle up. And then wide awake made them better looking. He made them sounder. Honestly, I'm really high on these two. Just wanted to spread out these 7s and not just roll them one after the other to you. But the 7-3, which one you got there, Luke? 25. That one is a crip. I wanted to make sure everybody knows that he is a crip. There is one in his flank, so he would need taken care of. Big-legged, wide, stout. I should mention they had a brother that got fourth at National Western Stock Show. The three that beat him were the grand overall, the reserve overall, and the third place one went on and won the next two shows. So if I'd have picked a different class, I think that one we'd be talking about as very, very popular. Really high expectations for these 7 litters.
Weston was giving me a hard time for putting my sale order together. I can do the same now for you because you roll this pair out here. First of all, the pedigree excites me alone. When you talk about Wide Awake, I will feed and continue to feed those kind. I mean, obviously you saw with us, we used him heavily. You used him in the right spots here. And this pair absolutely should excite you, ladies and gentlemen. That is the right type of build and feature and proportions for a pig this size. Their skull and bone and form is big, yet they are still immature in their overall pattern. All they need is just a little bit of time and a little bit of feed, and we can rock and roll. So I guess we have 24 over here on the right, and then 23 or 25. 25 is the white-legged one. I think pick your poison there. I don't know if we necessarily need to break them apart, study them in the back, but I'm telling you, if you say, man, which litter do I need to feed out of, this 7 litter really excites me from Hinton Livestock.
Mixed pin here was a couple of different litters. These are kind of represent some middle-aged ones for us in terms of size. But want to talk about first the 5-liter barrel. This is probably one of the highlights for me of the ones that we brought today. I think this guy is extremely proportional. He's really correct. He's my kind of pig from the very, very beginning. He's a tricked out 3 Allow Me, which Allow Me was not around for a really long time, but he injected a lot of bone into our program, and wish we still had him around here because I kind of need him again. But this is a gilt that Savannah showed for a very, very long time. So I think these ones are going to be very moderate and stout and have a big show window. Grandma raised the 9th overall Division I crossbred gilt at Arizona. There's another 7-liter in here. If you're looking for one that's a little smaller than the other 7s that we ran out here, the one with the spot in her top, that's lot 32. I think that one is very, very good in terms of her width and proportions. Maybe a little more moderate than her brothers, but I like that one a good deal. And the last one to talk about is the 8. And I know this is probably maybe as skinny and green of one this size that we brought. Get in front of this one, and she is very opened up in her chest. She's really correct in her cage. She is a wide awake buckle up as well. She's a no intro on that side of it, so her grandma would be the mother of the ones that we just saw, the little guys we saw come out here that raised 2 class winners at State Fair last year. Let's hear what Ben says about this mixed pin.
Well, we'll start with the male pig, the litter 5. Roll him out there. I think he's out in the middle of the ring right now on tag number 31. Again, tricked guys continues to work. Trick clones continue to work. That one's proportions are right. His feature is so massive relative to arm and bone and foot, and for just a little guy out there, that one excites me quite a bit. He should be on your short list so far from Hinton Livestock. No question, I can see why Ralph was excited to bring that one out there. And you're right about the Allow Me. Wish that board was still around. I know Albright, when he raised him and sold him, he was very excited about him, and rightfully so. Those pigs have done a tremendous job. Another 7-liter. We've talked about the 7s. Here's a chance for a 7-liter gilt. If you want to take advantage of her, she may be a little green and skinny, but as consistent as that litter is, guys, I buy out of good, deep, consistent litters. That's how I like purchasing pigs and how I really like seeing what quality is. I think that 7 litter's a highlight. And then the 8 litter, that Wide Awake, I remember. Now, did I read on here correctly? Did that one raise the reserve champion? Or the mom was the reserve champion?
She was the reserve champion at Yuma.
Yuma last year, yeah. I remember that. I remember that one in particular. Like that one quite a bit. Beat one of mine, which I was perfectly fine with that day. So, very nice trio. That's exactly right. Weston just said, go find that one's backdrop, the mom of that 8-liter. Whew, she took a killer picture, and she was a killer.
A bigger pin here with obviously some more 7s. Got those spread out. These are the bigger gilts. And guys, you might have to fight Savannah because she loves these calico pigs. And when they look like this, I love them too. These 2 calico gilts are outstanding in my mind. They're just so correct. I think that they can go up against the heaviest critic in terms of they're proportional, they're wide, they still have a big arm, and yet they're really not messed up. They're extremely correct in the way that they're built, like these 7 litters, a whole bunch. There is a 6 litter gilt in here, where there's only a couple of those. She is probably the skinniest middled one, and she hasn't filled up as good as I'd hoped here today, but she's a woke no huddle, so her mom would have just raised a class winner at San Antonio. Guys, read the fundamentals on this one. She is very big chested. She has a huge arm. She's just not full, but I promise you this one is very, very good. I've always loved this one since she was on the sow. 3 7s and a 6 for Ben to talk about here.
You know, we'll hit on the 7s real briefly before I dive into that woke gilt. But guys, the 7 litter, I think we've talked about them ad nauseum here because of the quality. This is why Wide Awake works. This is why he generates winners. One, he makes big litters of very sellable pigs. But I don't care what color they are out there, those 3 will hunt. If you're searching for gilts that will work, breeding gilt show, jackpotting, market hog at the end, doesn't matter. Those are going to keep coming with more power and more stuff because we know the buckle up on the bottom side of them. And those 3 7s, I think, again, just a very incredibly deep litter. We're not going to talk too much about this 6 gilt because I'm going to try to steal her tomorrow in the sale. No, I'm just joking here. Guys, that one's feature in that woke litter, you have to pay attention. The foot size, the arm shape, the bone column that one has for a skinny pig is really incredible. I don't want to play it off there too much, but those 6s, those wokes, we can see why they've been extremely popular. I sold a pair of them sell for a lot of money a couple weeks ago in Indiana that went to a boar stud. We can see why when you see the quality that they possess. So again, 2 very high quality litters one more time from Hinton Livestock.
The next 2 gilts coming in are on the smaller side, ones that probably would fit the variety of shows. Specifically want to talk about the 6-6. Her sister just left. I'm not trying to be funny. This one just maybe got the bad spot on the sow. And frankly, I think this is just who she is a little bit. If you're looking for one to go late August or beyond, like I'm talking Kansas City, Exarban, as long as you want to show a pig, there she is. This one is so dense, so proportional, so correct. You have to double check her ear notch just to make sure that she is a 6 because she is that much smaller. I think this is one of those, and I always call it the 1 in 25, Ben. The 1 in 25 that can be 10 months old, can be 11 months old, and is still in the zone. And is still fresh and correct and never is going to get out of the zone. Heck, that one in the sow pen was going to look like she's ready to go to a show any day. And then the 12, we had her brothers out here earlier. This is the only gilt in the litter, so this one is really special. She's one that her mother raised the 2 sale qualifiers at State Fair. Read this one in her cage and her body. This one is so dense and correct there. I think she's going to have a big arm. I really think this is a really nice set of gilts for later down the road.
We've talked about those 6s already, and if I believe correct, we need to make a correction on the sales sheet. That is a woke, correct? That's 6 litter, not a Wide Awake.
Yeah, that got switched around. Yep.
So lot 50, guys, that is a woke, not a Wide Awake. That little one out there. Yeah, guys, I shouldn't have to explain it too much. You guys are all experienced enough feeders out there to know, all right, that one probably has a tremendously long show window. Not every pig does. That one probably can be. And then the 12 litter, we've talked about those breath takers. This view that I'm getting right now here, and maybe as we turn her toward the camera, that is a very stout, wide chest with a big arm and big bone column and big feet that comes right at you. She will not be skinny and little for long, guys. That one is going to have plenty of power her whole life. Just a very, very nice set, a pair of gilts out there. Lot 50's the 6, 6-6. Lot 51, 12-8. That's the breath taker.
Pair of gilts coming out for me here, the same size. I think we saw the 5-litter. The gilt is out here, lot 59. She's the littermate's sister to that brother that we saw earlier. Guys, she's pretty skinny. She goes away from me like a green little pig. This is probably the hairiest and the darkest black one that I have at my place. I've been joking with those that have been through the farm that we might just feed this one because I might look like I know what I'm doing on a hair and skin standpoint if we just feed this one. So I won't have to work very hard to make that one black and make that one hairy. The 11-litter gilt is the sole representative of that litter. She would her mother would have had her first litter, and these guys would remember because they traveled with us. Her mother had our pigs that we took to pair in Texas this fall and took pretty much the entire litter. One of those gilts was third in her class at San Angelo a couple of weeks ago. That sow will always make them wide. She will always make them burly and stout, and I promise you they will only get stouter. So this one I have a lot of high hopes for. Get on top of her and read her in her cage. Read the amount of density that she has. She's not a very old pig, but she's a very stout pig.
Yeah, I could see why you brought the skinny little hairy one there because bone and hair is popular nowadays, and that one has it. There's no question that tag number 59, the 5-2 gilt, has some uniqueness to her. Well, let's talk about this 58 real quick, though. I'm a big fan of money lines. I thought they have done a very nice job. It's a shame that's the only one out of that litter to represent for you today because that's a good pig. That one's look, just the way her neck comes out of the top side of her skeleton, she ties into a really comfortable chest floor and shape to her arm. She's correct and proportional in her balance from there from the side. That is a very neat gilt. She's cocking off there for Luke. I tell you what, she just increased $500 in value just with that little look right there. Nice job, Luke. You get the extra kudos today. I like lot 58 quite a bit, guys.
Circling back to some bigger pigs now. The 2-litter, we haven't seen any of those coming out. Airstrike was a boar that we liked quite a bit when we went to Moyer's and thought that he offered a lot of value. And I got a little greedy here, and I bred him to a tricked out. That would make these things triple bred tricked out if you get into the depth of the pedigree. So did not shy away from what might have been 2 lined up, but I think it worked. These things are really big-legged. Their grandmother actually came from Hilty off the slat floor. Purchased her as an open gilt that was very, very good. Went back to a gilt that won Kansas City several years ago. The Calico's tag is bothering him a little bit, but I think that one is very, very dense. Huge hind leg, really correct in his build. The bigger guy is one that we push hard into county. And then the follow-up, the 3-litter Moneyline pig is also out of a good day. That sow came from Chase at SoCo. Always roll back and get some gilts from there because know the pedigree so well. That one's extremely stout. At my house, that one's got muscle. He's opened up. He's stout. One you probably feed pretty slow, so I think his window is still pretty big, but I think he's still really sound. Reason we're going back and using Moneyline again.
We'll start with those air strikes right there. Tag number 65, 66. 65 is the belted one, I believe, right? And 66 is the calico. Is that right? First of all, Airstrike guys, I had the opportunity actually to judge Airstrike's mom at the World Pork Expo 2 years ago when I evaluated that. She was an absolutely unique creature. The densest, biggest haired, wildest looking thing there that day, and we picked her 3rd overall the entire show, and I think I got chastised for it for picking her. We put her 3rd overall, Brittany and I, but she did sell for $110,000 later in the week, so I think everybody was happy when it was all said and done. When Moyers bought her, they bred her to Breathtaker, made this Airstrike boar, and though these are just a little bit different out here, I probably gravitate toward that belted one because that one has just an incredible look, and his pigment of his skin is dark, he's hairy, and that one is going to stouten up, I guarantee it, with that pedigree behind it, triple bred, tricked out or not. That one has some very unique properties right there. Then we jump on over to the money line. We talked about that one, 67. Boldness, roundness of rib cage, and center body, and that one is next level. No question about it. You will never have to feed that one very much feed. He is always going to have plenty to him. Very nice trio out here with some unique differences.
We're going to bring these as a pin, but they are two different heats for us. So this would be 72 and 73, 78 and 79. To talk about the 1 liter pigs, which would be 73, the gilt out there in the middle that Luke has, they would be bombshells. A shock and awe son that we saw at Moyer's that I thought would work really well. On the particular sow, she was a tricked out never before. She was shown by the Davis family in the winter just as a lease deal. I think that gilt is probably one of my favorites, and my friends would probably chastise me because she is easy to tell why she's Ralph Hinton's favorite. Her neck is ridiculous, her hind leg is ridiculous, and she is extended and long, and we're going to turn her into a monster. I think that one is very, very good. The 4 liter pigs are buckle ups. I bought this gilt from the Snyder family. The Brockman crew lays over with us there before Denver every year, and so they sent us a gilt up to show at Elbert County. Was lucky enough to get this one back, and she didn't have to go through the sale. So this would be a Faith Alone tricked out. For you pedigree junkies, that would be tricked out on My Intention. So that would be my New Creation's mother. So this would be a buckle up Faith Alone New Creation's mother on the 4 liter. Those look like buckle ups to me. We fed a bunch of those in the last year. They're wide, they're stout, and the bone is unlimited on how big they can get. So those are 72 and 73 it was a 4 and a 1, and then jump down to 78 and 79. 1-1 is probably the skinniest pig that we brought, just from the size standpoint. He's the kind of one that needs a tan over here. Really sound, really correct. I think you just add feed, and that guy's only going to get stouter. And then the Calico is one that's definitely fun from the side. That one is about as big armed as a pig that we have here. I think he's very, very stout. He needs to be fed slow. Slow and easy will be his game, but I think he is very attractive and very big-legged.
Yep. Ralph, I will tell you right now, that gilt may be your favorite, but she's one of my favorites too. So I'm in. I like it when you hide the stuff later on in the sale. You know, maybe we could sneak one out of there. Guys, that 1-7 gilt, tag number 73, I think we roll her out there. Wes is going to kind of push her out there. You guys better pay attention. That one's look is second to none, and we can joke about, hey, we all like different kinds, different styles. That's perfectly fine. Good pigs are good pigs. That's a good pig, period. I know it's up to you guys once you buy them how you want to feed them and manage them to get them to their ideal endpoint. But that one has extras relative to her look, her extension, her muscle shape, her feet and legs. Comfort is very, very good. We talked about buckle ups. He's been around now for several seasons. Just a very, very good set of pigs right there. Those buckle ups feed.
There'll be 72 that Landon has there.
Yeah, that's
4-2.
4-2. 4- This mic. Get this mic right. 4-2. Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. To me, his length to height ratio is ideal. That one looks to be taller than he is long, and that one's going to help him in the end. That will always be in the look. That will always get a look from a judge. That wide belted one right there should be high in your list.
And guys, for buckle ups on, we fed so many of these. We probably were in there early as anybody on, and frankly, we have pigs already out of buckle up daughters. Those are the kind, the more moderate, wider, stouter, denser ones, because buckle ups, even though they are wide and stout, want to get bigger. Start with a moderate one like that. You're going to be in the right frame of mind when you get there to the end of August or the first part of August. I think that one has some feeding flexibility. This pin coming in will be the last one. We'll run them together. They will be 84 and 85. 90 and 91. They are all littermate gilts. We saw their very stout brother come out here a little bit ago out of the 3 liter. These are Moneyline Good Days. Their mother came from SoCo. Some of you might remember a 12 liter that Chase brought to the very first beginning that set the world on fire, and those were the high sellers that day. I went down there and convinced my friend to sell me a gilt out of that litter. Sydney showed her all summer, so this is one of her first litters coming out. These look like money lines. Guys, these are very, very hairy. These things are dense. Their hair and skin texture is good. I think they have a lot of feeding flexibility. I think these are sound enough and later enough maturing that you can push them hard and show in August, and they don't all have to be heavyweights on the 1st of August. I think these fit that, or you can push them further along. I think these gilts are very, very good. Excited. I'm just ran them in the pins they were at home, and I think these 4 are very nice.
Yeah, Ralph makes a very good point, guys, and I think you should pay attention to this. Too many times we start trying to peg the animal from this very stage of where we think it should fit weight-wise when it's all said and done. Let the pig help determine where that outcome is at. And guys, I don't care what show you go to anymore. You can win a show from any weight class. You could be a lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, doesn't matter. You just have to be better than everybody else. And the intangibles that these 4 bring to the table, what he just talked about of skin and hair texture. I know we never thought we would have been talking about that years ago, but it is so vitally important. If that is not correct, it's really tough to get a look in a show. These all 4 have the right type of look. From that standpoint, you can tell their feature's going to be big the older they get. I think jump in here and feed them where that fits your show window later on in the summer. Very nice set, Ralph.
Thank you, sir. That's the end for Hinton Livestock. If you want to get them back out or have any questions for us after the preview, definitely come and find us. Thank you again for being here, and we'll get Weston's out here. While Weston's getting up here, a little housekeeping. Tomorrow, make sure you come by. We're going to Saltcraft Meat Market is doing lunch, so make sure you come and take part in that. And we'll have another preview tomorrow for those of you that might have missed it or saw tonight online and want to come see them in person. Love to have you. And then we'll start the sale at 2 o'clock tomorrow. So make sure that you're in the seats by 2, because we are going to try to start with our online bidding. We are going to try to start as close to 2 as we can. And that look online, we'll have the links on there later, but that will be on TaylorFortSales.com, so you'll need to register on there. Tomorrow we'll have scanning opportunities here, so even people in person will need to register on there to get your bidder's number in person. Go ahead, Weston. Excited to see you.
Again, guys, excited to see everybody here in person, and hope the stream is coming through clear. I know these can get long. I don't intend to do that, but at the same time, we know that you guys are excited to find the prospects you need, and we want to get you a good look. But with that said, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start off our offering with 5 2-litter male pigs. And I guess just to give you just a brief there on that litter. So this is that young mama's second parity here, and in her first, we couldn't ask her for more. She would have had the 37 litter from this summer. Those things were incredible. They would have won Arizona, had the reserve heavy at Arizona, had a sailmaker guild at Arizona, won Cheyenne, had ones in the champion top 5 at both Jingle Bell shows at Amarillo by morning. Anyways, that was an incredible litter for us. Every one of those pigs found a backdrop, and I'll be honest, I'm more excited about these. So I hope you like them too. Out here we have 2 of them. Landon has tag 3, that'd be notch 2-4. And then Luke is working on the black-headed one, that would be tag 9, 2-5.
Guys, I'm excited to get to be the one to talk about these, because Ally right now is probably as hot as any firm in the country, guys. They're winning at every show. That every time there's a major come across, there's a photo of one that they've won. And here's a highlight sow for them that set this whole thing in motion. Guys, the 3-litter pig is incredible. He's still a boar pig. I guess if somebody thinks they need to come find one, because he is that kind of bone. He is that kind of stoutness. He is that kind of flexibility. And yet, if I remember about those pigs that were from this winter, they were not ones that were dinks and just fell into the winning because of their age. They grew the entire time. They came into that stoutness naturally, and these ones are probably stouter than those at this stage. And so that one is incredible. Guys, look in. That is probably as good of a pig as you will find anywhere in the country. You need to pay attention to that one. Weston put a video of this one up, and I said, Weston, why are you putting my favorite one up before I even saw the rest of them? Because I knew what this one was going to mean to me. His flexibility and use of his hind leg, guys, is incredible. I always talk about their dew claws should go further back than their tail. He does that so extremely well. At the same time, he can put his ears over his spine and still be proportional and stout. I think that one fits every critic because he fits every guy. It doesn't matter what judge walks in the door, that one's going to fit, and you're not going to worry about having the wrong kind that day because he's everybody's kind. An incredible pair to start out with. Kudos to these guys and bringing them here to Elevate.
Again, Landon's on 2-4, tag 3. Again, I don't know. I've never been so torn. I want to utilize this pig as a boar at my house very badly, but I also like to win pig shows. The buyer's going to decide, but if he does stay intact, I need doses, I guess, is what I'm going to say there. And then, again, the black-headed pig would be notch 2-5, tag 9. We're going to dump our next pin here, and it'll be 3 more brothers, heavy hitter, in-game, provoked little bro. We'll talk a lot about what grandma means to us and great-grandma as we get in through the night. I won't bore you here. Again, I mentioned it earlier. I think that the impressive part to me of the 37 litter from this summer, they all weren't the exact same, but they all offered quality. I think there's differences here, but honestly, I like them all. Just in different places, I guess, is where they stand out.
I would like to know what Weston has secret sauce to make your best sow have 5 male pigs. These things are incredible. Guys, if you remember, if you didn't pay attention, that Arizona pig was a red one, a calico just like this. The one that the Charles boys here showed was a red one. So pay attention. Obviously, her red ones have been very good luck. I think that one's arm shape and his skull shape. Me and Weston talk about skull all the time because he gives me a hard time and I give him a hard time. That one's skull is so incredible, and the shape of his blade and his proportions, and he still uses his hind leg correctly. Really, really good. The one that's coming across the ring is probably one that's probably as tight-throated as any of them in this litter. Still, use of his arm, use of his hind leg. Guys, these are a little different shaped. That one maybe can be fed just a nickel harder than a couple other ones. The one that Luke's on now is probably as stout and dense and short-bodied as any of the ones that we've looked at. Guys, look, get a 2 litter. I don't think it matters which one you get. If you have one in your barn, you should be really, really happy when tomorrow gets over.
I failed at my job here. I need to identify him, I guess, for the camera. Luke here with the, I don't know if the camera sees that here, has, we'll call him the wide belt out of this group. That would be 2-2, which would be tag 11. Landon with the syrup is running around 2-3, tag 12. That pig was really green. I didn't even take a picture of him. He is coming on fast, fast, fast. I love his back shape coming. Then the calico is 2-1, which would be tag 10. Again, all brothers that we've seen so far, the 2 litter. Next, we're going to dump out a trio of gilts, all from different litters. We'll start with the Calico, tag 19, 14-1. This would be out of a gilt that we were fired up to purchase. She was $23,000 at King's from Corb. For those of you paying attention, Corb just won a big one there with a wild side. That boar is working at his house. We're ecstatic to have that mama. Top side of that Calico would be Woke. They talked about it earlier. I promise you, I am breeding Woke to some of my very best sows. We're excited. We have a lot of younger ones, only a few here today. That'd be the Calico Luke's working on there. Next, the blue-eyed gilt would be the litter 11 pig. That'd be 11-2, tag 21. She's predominantly white with blue eyes there. And then the gilt with more blue speckles with the crazy stout mug there that's maybe the pound's lightest in this trio would be a 7 litter, 7-2, tag 20.
Guys, some differences in just their build and kind here, but 3 that are extremely, extremely good. The Calico is obviously very special. That one is going to be a highlight tomorrow, I can tell you for sure. Just the hair, the density, and still flexible, and proportions are so very good. I heard Weston talking about pet peeves of height to length ratio earlier. That one does that extremely, extremely good. I remember that one's mother really, really well. She was the only one that beat my mother in my 7 litter over and over and over again. That's a very, very good gilt that she's out of. That's an exciting pig to talk about. The blue-eyed one that's in the corner that was mostly white really caught my eye coming out of the gate. That one has, not only is she good in her throat latch and the way that her neck ties in, we've heard a lot of discussion in the last couple of months about crest, and that one has almost non-existent crest. Her neck and the depth of her neck is so very good. Her shape is good. The size of her hind leg all the way to the bottom of her foot is really, really good. And the blue one, obviously, I can tell Weston loves this one because her skull is extremely, extremely stout. One has hard shape. I think that one can be fed for quite a long time if you want to, but she's sound enough to take it and go fast if you need her to. I think a multi-purpose one there in the blue speckled gilt.
So again, 19 is the Calico Woke wild side. 20 is the speckled gilt with the stout mug. She'd be a bombshell on a Bravo gilt that Luke would have got to show on the circuit a few years ago. And then the more white gilt there along the fence that Landon's working on would be Cheers, Nomad, Tricked Out. So kind of interesting there on the south side. Grandma would have been one of the 12 litters, and we bred her back to Nomad, actually. Little different there, but a fun set of light crosses here in Colorado. This pin or group, I guess, only has a couple. Tag 26 would be 14-2. That would be the one that my younger son's working on, kind of closer to me. This gilt is absolutely wild from the side. She'd be a mate to that Calico, a little more extended and elevated potentially. And then the other one that Landon's trying to get her head out of the dirt would be the first of our 3 litters. This would be 3-5, tag 27. That would be Driving Force, a boar that we're excited to utilize heavily. I know that he didn't necessarily make the most doses per collection, but we were fortunate to get our hands on some of it. And man, I think it worked here on these 3s that we'll see today.
Guys, the one that Luke's working on there, the Woke lot 26, look in here on this one because the intangibles of things that they don't make feed supplements for are all here. They don't make a supplement to make them better in their throat. We have some out there, they just don't work as make it when you have one that just starts this way. And then when she turns away from you, the size of her hind leg is incredible. You will always get noticed and you will always find a pin at a later show when the judge comes behind you and the size of your hind leg is that. It's important. It's something that we continue to focus on. She's flexible. She's good looking. I'm not worried if she's skinny or not compared to her Calico sister. We'll make that one chubby enough there's a lot of pieces that you cannot fix with a feed bucket that are right here in front of you. The narrower belted gilt is one that still has those same things. Really incredible in terms of her look up front. Driving force was a very moderate, very, very stout pig. So if you look at one that has this much extension and look, and I'm going to call it lateness of maturity, out of that boar, you know that they're only going to get stouter. So if you're a pedigree junkie and you look down at the pig, you realize, oh, this one is only going to get denser. She's only going to get stouter, and she's only going to get rounder caged and deeper bodied. I think two pigs that have the things that we can't feed into them and have all of the extras and look, these two gilts I think we're going to be heard from, I promise you that.
Again, the one here that Landon has that's super dark black would be the litter 14 gilt, and the other one would be a litter 3 gilt. Next, we're going to dump a trio of male pigs in here. On your sheet, we're going to look at lots 34, 35, and 36. The two belted pigs would be 34 and 35. Those would both be 1 litters. The wider belt is 1-3, tag 34. The narrower belt, at least on his left side, I guess, would be tag number 35, 1-2. We've talked about buckle up here tonight. We all know that finding the sow that's right to utilize that boar can be a challenge. We have not utilized him maybe as much as most firms. I couldn't help myself here on this Sunset female. I thought she was moderate, chunky enough with a good enough skeleton to handle what buckle up brings to the table. I guess, and she's a Sunset, I guess. I am a big fan of those. There's not enough of those around. We lost that boar too early. Again, just to help you differentiate them on the camera, the one that's chasing the white pipe would be 1-3, and the one back here digging in the shavings would be 1-2, tag 35.
Guys, if you remember last year, the mother of this raised Jake King's Blue Barrel that ran on the jackpot circuit, and Jake didn't bring that one out every weekend, but when he did, we always knew that one was going to be towards the top of the blue division, one that was so incredibly hairy, and these ones have that same denseness of hair. That pig had incredible hair on his front leg, I remember, and these ones have that exact same thing. We talked about buckle up on my set and finding the right kind of buckle ups, ones that are proportional in their look, they're wide and dense, and not ones, you want your buckle ups to be shorter bodied and very moderate to start, and I think both of these belted pigs fit that extremely well. And then they utilize their hind leg. They put it behind their tail, they utilize their hocks really, really well, and they're great in their shoulder. So places, when you find the right intangibles on buckle ups, they're very hard to beat at the end, but you need to make sure you start with the right kind. I think both of these do. The blue one is one that is really good in terms of his look. That guy in the blue division, I think, is going to be really, really tough. He naturally puts his ears over his spine, and his range of motion in his shoulder is really, really good. I think you can lean on this guy if you wanted to, and he's never going to fail on you from a feet and leg standpoint. A really good trio here.
I failed to mention, too, on this blue pig, that would be a mate to the mega stout scold speckled gilt we saw earlier. Mama is as stout and burly as we have on the farm, with as much punch as anything. Give that guy 2 weeks, and I bet you never, ever call him green again. That would be, again, the 7-1 tag 36 Blue Barrel. I joked with Cooley here that he brought a lot of 13s, and so did we. There's going to be a ton of those to sort through on your sheet. The mom of our 13s would be the provoked little bro sow, who would be the grandma of the 2s, grandma of the ones that won at Arizona and all over this summer. But I don't want to just phrase her as the grandma, because she is a young key sow on our place who the last 3 seasons, this is her 4th parity, have made absolute sale highlights for us every time. This time we bred her kind of as clubby, I guess, as we have so far, and man, I'm excited. She's got the maturity to handle it. She's the hairiest sow on the farm. Luke's got 13-5 there that's kind of cruising around on the syrup, the real dark black belted gilt. Also in this group would be a sister there that Landon just went to, who's thinking about chasing there, kind of a chromed up gilt. That one would be 13-3, tag 46. And then the male pig with the cool belt kind of down the center of his body there would be the first 15 we've seen. That'd be 15-1, tag 45. That thing is a tricked 4, which we're very fond of at our house. Back on a turn-in tricks, and then Grandma would be the $20,000 sow we bought as a bred from the source.
Guys, we each have taken our turn making fun of the other for their sale order, so here's my chance to make fun of Weston on how he put these in order. These are really, really good pigs. This trio, to talk about the gilts together, because I think they're very similar in their kinds. They're ones that are so attractive, and I probably haven't talked enough, and it's one thing that Weston's genetics do so well is cage. They're so round in the terms of their body. If you read them right behind their blade, they don't need to be mega full to still be called round in their body and dense in their center skeleton. I think these do this so very, very well. Obviously, you look down, and the first thing that I see is the provoked sow. So anybody that thinks that Weston's here let these gilts come to elevate and didn't keep them at home means that he's going to share them. So these things are very, very good. That's an impressive sow that's made a lot of really good ones herself, and then obviously is behind some of the ones we saw earlier. The barrow is really impressive. He was looking right at me a few minutes ago. That is a very flat sternum. That's a really square knee when he is very correct from the top of his blade to his knee to his foot, and you can't fix that later, guys. He's so correct there. He's wide and he's dense, and he has no throat. It's hard to say those things in that order. I think that pig's exceptional. I think his color pattern only makes him better. And so a really good set of pigs here in this trio. Jump in on any of these three, and I think you'll be very, very happy.
If you're looking at a sheet, I think we need to flip it here. For the first time for the Ally firm, we brought some purebreds to elevate. They're not the biggest today, and that's by design. We all know that, here, work on the male pigs first maybe, just to keep them straight. We know that Durocs of any breed still actually kind of get out and grow. Guys, I think that for me, these things, I have no question that these things are Weld County Reds. We're not long-timers at the Duroc game. We were very, very fortunate, and our foundation sow started us off on the right foot, and we really kind of are finding a way to really enjoy these. But these would be Promise Keeper back on Work of Art Hammer. Work of Art was one of, I guess, my favorite red boars that I've ever seen. They lost him incredibly soon. Travis Platt called me and said, hey, he died. Do you have gilts? Don't you dare let him go. And we felt very fortunate. The mama of these, she is the densest, stoutest creature around for that breed especially. We bred her to Promise Keeper to make him snazzy up front. I'm excited to hear Ralph describe the little bitty red ones.
That's all right. When these jumped off the trailer, I was like, oh, red ones. And then, oh, wait a minute, really good red ones. These things are really good, guys. They are so dense and correct, and they do something that is so hard to do in this breed. We feed a lot of different breeds, and we try to dabble in different things on the feeding side, and these are some of the most difficult ones to get right when they're little. And I think these ones do the things that are hard to find. They are wide, they're dense, but they're still so correct. They're still so good in terms of their ability to put their head over their spine, and then just the denseness of their hind leg. Weston said these can fit a wide variety of shows, and I think that they have stretch if you need them to. I think you could feed them hard and go right into weld and be dense and stout. Especially look at that look that Landon's giving you right there. That is a really round-bodied, stout, burly type of pig that a Duroc that has no throat like that and can put his ears up. I think these are very, very good set of Durocs. These guys have been, Weston's probably being modest for a number of sows that they have. They've been winning as much as anybody. There's a champion in American Royal somewhere back in the pedigree of these things. Get in on these Durocs. These are very, very good. There's not many purebreds in Colorado that we get to look at that look like these, I promise.
So I'm going to help you just decipher who's who real quick. The really dark pigmented pig that Landon's working on with the black stick would be tag 52, 32-2. The other male pig, the really, really bold centered one here in the corner, would be tag 53, 32-1. And then there's a pair of gilts here that they're just kind of getting going on. Luke's got 54, which would be 32-6, or he did. She's the one that's running towards me. And then the one furthest away from the sail block over there that Landon's trying with the syrup would be 32-7, tag 55. All litter mates, Promise Keeper, Work of Art, Hammer. Next, we dump out just a pair here. The tag 60, 13-2 is the male pig. Landon's got him on the pipe over here. Again, that would be a 13 litter Moneyline Provoked Little Bro. One that I guess we were kind of hoping for out of this sow. I have become so obsessed with just the maturity pattern in 2025 on these show pigs, and I do think Moneyline worked on that sow, especially just on this male pig, making him boxy, burly, but that sow gives me faith for the long game. Luke has a gilt who is looks belted on one side and more black on the other. Again, that would be a 15 litter out of a first-time gilt, trick forward, turning tricks, back on a Sloan bred.
I love when you look down and you read Moneyline Provoked Little Bro, and then a barrel walks out and and it just makes sense. That one is so dense, and he's so correct in his proportions, and everything about his pedigree says that that's what he should look like. He should be dense-centered. He should have a huge arm, and he should have a big skull, and then he should be so correct in terms of his length-to-height ratio. I think that one is one that needs to be written down on a short list, because that is a barrow that I think has a big feeding window. I think we talked about earlier, that one can still be a light to a middle at Weld, or you can hold him and you can make him a monster at State Fair. I think there's a lot of versatility in the size and the maturity of that guy right there. I think that one needs to be on a lot of short lists. The gilt out there is one that caught my eye in the back because of her memorable marks, the black on one side and the white on the other. Looks like a tricked out. You get out here and you look at her, and she's wide, she's dense, and she's burly, but her maturity pattern screams that you can feed on this one and let her buck and go, and she's never going to get out of bounds for you. She's flexible. Her look is great. I think a really good pair here from Ally Genetics. The barrow is lot 60, and the gilt is lot 61.
The next pair, similar mold, we have 113 and 115 litter. The black gilt is tag 68, 15-9. The belted gilt would be tag 69, 13-7. Again, we've talked about these litters. Cooley mentioned it earlier that whenever you get depth of litter, I guess it just excites me. We don't necessarily try to make black gilt a habit, obviously, but the reason she come to Elevate is because there's just a sharpness and a wildness about this one that excites me. I know she's green and skinny, and then yet again another 13 litter gilt who comes from that Provoked sow that I'm interested to hear what Ralph thinks.
invert it and have the exact same pedigrees of the last two that came out here. And we talked about depth of litter, and then depth of litter with a mother who's raised so many good ones and is kind of a foundation of what they're doing there at Allied Genetics. And we probably only talked about her hair one time. I want to mention it again. Weston sends me pictures of when he breeds this sow, and he's sitting on her back, and she is so hairy, guys. She looks like something that lives in the Arctic. So one that you know is going to have that kind of hair. This one's really great when she comes at you, this belted gilt. She's so wide and good in her knee. She's flexible in her shoulder, and her proportions are right. I think one that has that extra shape and look, this one's going to go out early in the jackpot series and going to win something for somebody. I think that one's really nice, really good to start with. The black gilt probably always gets the bad look about black ones. My one from San Antonio 2 days ago, solid black one. So I'm in on black ones recently. I think this one still has a lot of look. This one has the maturity pattern that I like to feed. Her arm is big, her hair is right, and then watch her go and use her rear pastern. This one is especially good in terms of her reach behind her tail. I think this is a really good pair of gilts to look in on.
So next we're going to dump a pair of 3 litters. We talked about it earlier. Ralph even kind of mentioned, he read my mind from when I was mating this litter. Driving Force is a pace car no huddle from Hilty. Hilty does as good a job making moderate stouties as anybody, and I thought that board did an incredible job just in terms of proportions and hind leg for how dense and moderate he is. We used him on a God's Gift female here that goes back to the old King of the Hill sow, who is absolutely wild looking, longer, taller at our house. And this is what I kind of hope for. I mean, I was just excited to combine this kind of look with enough stuff and just that kind of shag and density. Of the pair of gilts here, the one Landon's trying to beat with the stick would be tag 64, 3-4. If you notice, she's got a little darker black birthmark on her right hip as an ID point. And then one that I probably told every person through the farm, I don't know why this one just kind of trips my trigger. I think it's her shortness of back and chest and proportions. She's green and she's not maybe quite as dark black as some, but this would be the tag 75 3-7 gilt that Luke's working on with the strawberry.
I know this is a long preview and we're working through it, but everybody needs to come back and pay attention to what's going on here because there's 2 gilts in the ring that are incredibly good. And I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but their use of this gilt's rear pastern. When one uses her cushion and has cushion to her rear pastern and uses it like she does, it is so forgiving in your ability to feed her hard when it's time to feed her hard, and her use of it and putting it back there. Her look combined with that flexibility, this is one that I'm very, very interested in terms of her length of stride. Really, really like that one. I see what Weston sees in this other gilt. She turns and she gives us the view that we're looking at now, and she's so incredibly flat there in her sternum. Her knee is great, and then you turn from the side and the proportions still match with one that's still attractive and late maturing. This is a very stout-headed one for a gilt that's still getting fleshy. She has all the indicators. Look at the stoutness of her tail. Even the indicators of this one is the reason that Weston's is a breeder I'm attracted to because of the indicators of stoutness that she has. I think a really good pair of gilts here.
We dump a pair of gilts here who are maybe just a little bigger if you're needing them early. We have tag 80, which is a 1-7. Again, that would be from the Buckle Up Sunset litter. And then tag 81 would be 4-4. That's the first one of those we've seen. Sometimes as breeders, we just, I don't know, if something hits us like a ton of bricks. Mama, this one is the king little bro. She would have raised the reserve middle at Denver. She'd be the grandma of the one that won San Angelo last year at this time. And it just dawned on me, why on earth have I never bred her to Tricked? It felt silly to me. We did it. We're glad we did. Let's see, they're kind of marked the same way. The one on the syrup would be the 1 litter gilt. That'd be the buckle up. The one that Luke's kind of running away from Luke would be the 4-4 gilt there that would be Trick clone.
Let's talk about 4-4 since Luke still got her up there. I remember the gilt that won San Angelo because she went to Texas with us when we went down there 2 years ago, and this thing looks so similar in terms of just her density, her look, her flexibility. There's a lot of similarities. You can tell that Mom is consistent in her ability to do that. I think that's a very, very good gilt that's only going to get stouter. That one's foot size, if you read her down at the surface, is very, very good. The gilt that Luke is leading around, I think that one it looks like a buckle up in terms of her head, her stoutness of skull, her stoutness of her arm. Her proportions are good, and her chest is really, really good. Same thing that we've been talking about. She uses the whole range of her hock when she gets out and goes, really round in her cage. We talked about that being an ally. Something that Ally does so very well is that she's so round-bodied when you get off to the side of her. I think a really good pair of gilts that just Ally brought out here for you that have really good mamas, so look in here.
If you have a hard copy here, jump to the last page. This group, let's see, we're going to dump 2 male pigs. Tag 86 would be 9-1. That would be the really traditional belt here that's running. Well, they both kind of are. Let's see, he's a little bigger here, closer to the camera potentially, that Landon's got the white pipe on. That would be an airstrike out of the King of the Hill sow. And then also, we got tag 87 out there. We got a little typo here, looks like. That should be 9-1. Oh, excuse me. That can't be right. So 9-1 is tag 86. That's correct. Tag 87 is 4-1, but the pedigree is wrong here. 4-1 would again be Tricked Out the King Little Bro. Sorry, that threw me for a loop. So 86, 9-1, 87, 4-1. Again, we talked about airstrike earlier. Hats off to Moyers for just having the foresight to breed that crazy stout gilt from Expo to Breathtaker. That's not for the faint of heart. I couldn't believe how much I liked Air Raid and Airstrike out there. We gave him a good shot here on a couple proven sows. Ralph, tell me what you see here.
So let's try to talk about them one at a time and make sure we get the correction on here right. The bigger barrow that Luke is on here is lot 86, 9-1. We had some airstrikes at our house, and they look, when you get that much Tricked in there and then that much power all combined, it just makes sense. I think this guy's arm is incredible. His muscle, he's one that probably needs to go home and slow down just a little bit. But if you're looking for an early county fair, if you're showing, in middle of July or even late July, this is the kind of pig that you need to be looking for in terms of size, his flexibility, and Weston talked about it earlier. When you go into a county fair and you are big armed, you're dense middled, and you're and heavy muscled, you're always going to get noticed. I think that barrel fits that extremely, extremely well. The 4-1 barrel, I want it to not fall on deaf ears that his mom raised a division winner at National Western and a gilt that won a Texas Major. So keep that in mind, that this is a barrow out of a sow that's already done that in her lifetime. This guy is really proportional in his look. He comes at you wide, and he has that, when we talk about bone, it's sometimes they're big in their arms, sometimes they're big in their hind leg. This is one that I think keeps his stoutness from his blade to the middle of his knee all the way to the ground, and it's the first thing that I notice about him is that his bone is probably never going to go away, because his bone starts at his foot, and is so stout and true. I think a really good pair of barrows that fit a variety of shows. Look in on ones like this.
Okay, we're going to dump 3 out at you. They're all sired by airstrikes, but we have the first 8 litter that we've seen that's running across the ring there. Of the pigs that I brought, if you have an early fair, I think this one could be ready the earliest. Not only because he's pounds heavy, but I think the feeding plan on that thing is, let's go. You don't have to overthink it here. Pour it to this guy. I would guess that at your county fair, he will be amongst the biggest legged ones there. Love that guy for that. He's not small framed. That is a tall pig that I think is meant to be a heavyweight. And then we have 2 9 litters again, similar to the one we just saw, maybe not just quite as full and advanced in terms of bloom yet. To decipher them, Luke, which one do you have there on the bottle? 9-5, which would be tag 93. Landon with the white pipe has tag 94, 9-6.
Guys, these airstrikes have a very striking look. Honestly, when you get off to the side, their ability to use their head up above their spine is really, really good. That big one, guys, is intriguing to me because when you have that kind of bone and that kind of stoutness, but then his maturity says, let's give me all the feed that I want and let's go all the way to the top of the heavyweights, you can do a lot of things. I think somebody buys this pig and Weston's going to come by your house someday or come to your county fair and he's going to be like, whoa, this thing turned into an absolute monster, because that's the way I read him. He's not a moderate little tiny one that's cute. He's big, he's stout, and he's ready to go. These kind can still win. You feed them hard, you feed them the right amount of feed and let them go and be that big armed. They're really hard to beat at a county fair, I promise you. The one with the white legs over here that Luke has, it was one that caught my eye when he walked in the door, and the white tip of his tail. Not only is his color pattern attractive, I think that's a shorter bodied one in terms of the airstrikes. He's a little more proportional in terms of his length. I think he's still very, very flexible and very correct in terms of his muscle at this stage. I think that one is really good when he goes away from you. I think you can feed that one hard and never get in trouble. And then one that Landon's got's probably the skinniest from a muscle standpoint of those ones when he goes away from you. That's always something that I am not afraid of. Ones that are skinny going away from you are always going to be safer and easier to feed. You're never going to get in a ditch, and you can just let them go. 3 pigs that I think you get to feed on and get to the end and be really very, very happy.
We're about to dump out our final pin of the evening, guys, and again, just wanted to tell you with the sincerest thank you I can. We love what we do. We feel very, very blessed as breeders to have you guys here, to call most of you friends and see some new faces as well. We appreciate it. We want to just pound it in over and over that we want to have a relationship with you. We want to help you feed. We want to get these things across the finish line, because that's a positive experience for your kiddos and for us. With that, I gave Cooley a hard time earlier. I knew this was coming. I will admit I had to save one of my favorites for my last pin as well. The gilt on the syrup, or she would be 13-4. Let me see here. Tag 97. I don't know. That's just my kind. That kind of skull, jaw, shortness of back, length of hip fires me up. Out of that sow, I have no idea why I am not keeping her. I guess it's because it's spring and that's what we do. We try to sell these things. That's 13-4 on the white pipe. Luke has the more chromed up sister with the spot on the bottle now. Again, one that I think is going to be dense when it's said and done, with a really neat look. She's kind of chasing there. And then finally, tag number 99, 1-6 would be the gilt with the big old flag tail there. That would be Buckle Up Sunset. Ralph?
Weston keeps us going all the way to the end with 3 gilts that are extremely, extremely good. Guys, we talked about this litter a lot tonight. and for good reason, because she's one of the foundations that they have there at their farm. You know, when she's won as much as this sow has, that you put one on feed, that you're going to be successful. The two gilts down there at the end are both very, very good. Weston, I would trade you. The one with the spot in her top, I think, is so incredible. I love that one. Her roundness of her body and the squareness of her knee and her flatness of her sternum. She's proportional. She's flexible. That one gets a big star for me. The gilt that Weston likes is one that is so good in terms of her ability to put her ears over her spine. She never gives you a bad look from the side. And then when you think from the side, you get beside her, she's like, oh, here's a really a pretty one that's really attractive and sound. And then she turns and comes right at you, and you realize, no, that's not the final end of the story. She's still square, she's correct, and really big in her arm and big in her chest. Those are two really impressive gilts. This is one that rounds us out here that is very, very hairy. And read the shape of the front side of her forearm. This one is going to be very dense, very, very stout. Her skull is right. Her hair is incredible. And guys, I know this is a weird thing to talk about. I love this one's tail. That when they flag tail like that and come up, you will always get noticed. You will always look proportional, and it just helps everything tie together when their tail wants to do that. When I don't even know how to clip them correctly to make it happen every time, but when I figure it out, they'll all look like that. This thing is awesome. This is a great pen of hogs. Guys, come back in the back. Talk to us. We can get a few more pigs out if we need to. We're going to have another preview here tomorrow, and at 11, the preview's at 11. We'll have lunch after that before the sale at 2. Thank you for being here. Like Weston said, there is not a question don't be afraid to come and ask us anything at all. We're here to help you. We want to be part of your success. Thank you for being here tonight. Everybody get home safe, and we'll see you here tomorrow.